My name is Murli, Indian Air Force veteran, stroke survivor. My speech is slow, that's okay. YouTube requires me to tell you most of the voice you will hear in this video is my AI voice clone, VoiceForge. I built it my pre-stroke recordings. This is my real face. This is my real story. This voice is my tool. Thank you.
People ask me why I built VoiceForge. The honest answer goes back further than the stroke. My body has been sending me warnings for years. First, Bell's palsy. One side of my face would not listen to me. I went back to work, went back to life. Went back to life. Then, years later, Bell's palsy again. The second time, again, I recovered. Again, I told myself, this is behind me now. Then a heart attack. My heart stopped cooperating with the plan I had for my life. I survived. I rebuilt. Then, November 2020, a brain stroke, 4 warnings. 4 times, my body tried to slow me down. Each time I came back, but each time, recovery took its own pace, not mine. Speech therapy works, I do not doubt that, but neuroplasticity moves on its own timeline, not on my timeline. I spent 4 years in therapy after the stroke, repeating words, repeating sentences, hundreds of times. Some days I felt progress. Some days I felt stuck. Here is what those 4 episodes taught me. I cannot wait for time to heal me on its own schedule. I have watched my body try to put me on pause 4 separate times. So, I built a different policy for myself. No rest. Only rest in peace. That is not bravado. That is survival logic. Bed rest does not write a memoir. Bed rest does not raise a daughter. Bed rest does not build software. Every day I am still breathing is a day I am still working, and every day I had stories to tell. A military career, a second career in IT, 2 bouts of Bell's palsy, a heart attack, a stroke, a comeback every single time. But my speech could not keep up with my stories. I am an IT infrastructure engineer. That means something specific. When a system is broken, I do not wait for it to fix itself. I find a workaround. I build a bridge. I have applied that same logic to my own body again and again. So I asked a simple question. What if my old voice could carry my new story, while my real voice keeps healing at its own pace in the background? The first challenge was not code. It was data. I needed clean recordings of my pre-stroke voice. A voice that did not exist anymore in real time. Only NOR files. I went digging. Zoom recordings from teaching sessions, class recordings from Virginia International University, files. I almost deleted years ago, files. I kept for no reason I could explain at the time. Turns out, I was keeping evidence. Evidence of who I used to sound like. I listened to dozens of old clips. Some had background noise. Some had bad microphones. Some were too short to use. I pulled out short, clean clips. A few seconds were enough. That became my voice reference. The seed for everything else. It felt strange, honestly, listening to myself from before everything changed. But I did not get emotional about it for long. I have spent 2 decades in IT infrastructure, Linux systems, server rooms, networks, enterprise environments. I know how to diagnose a broken system. I know how to find the data you need. I had a pipeline to build. I joined the Indian Air Force on July 14, 1992 as an avionics engineer. I did work on choppers for a brief period, but the bulk of my Air Force career was IT, computer systems, network infrastructure, training, 13.5 years of it. I retired on December 19, 2005. On February 17, 2006, I walked straight into a civilian IT career. From Air Force server rooms to enterprise data centers, Linux administration, server builds, network architecture, 20 more years of infrastructure, from Air Force to enterprise, IT to I app builder, 34 years, no career break, not one, not even the stroke stopped that. 2 months of rest after the stroke, then back to work. That is not stubbornness. That is the only way I know how to live. No rest. Only rest in peace. That changed after A. I entered my life. Neuroplasticity works in strange ways. My brain was forced to find new paths after the stroke, and AI gave me new tools to walk those paths. I started learning to build apps, not as a junior developer, as a senior infrastructure engineer who finally had the right tools. Python, FastAPI, AI models, things that would have taken years to learn before, now accessible enough that I could build something real post-stroke in my 50s. That is the other comeback story inside this story. I chose Chatterbox TTS, an open voice cloning model. I run everything locally. No cloud, no subscriptions. No waiting on someone else's server. My setup is WSL2, running AlmaLinux, Linux on Windows, exactly where I am comfortable. Python 3.11, a clean virtual environment. I wrap the model in FastAPI, so I could call it like any other service. One endpoint for a single sentence, one endpoint for a full paragraph, one endpoint for testing custom voice prompts. I send text in. I get my voice out. I tried Docker early on. It fought me on model loading, catching issues, dependency issues. So I parked it. A clean local setup was faster than fighting containers. 2 decades in infrastructure taught me that sometimes the simplest path wins. Sometimes the fancy solution is the wrong solution. I rebuilt the project structure more than once, cleaned up the virtual environment more than once, renamed things, started over partially twice. That is normal in engineering. That is normal in recovery too. I am getting it ready to push to GitHub, public, open for anyone to clone, not because I need an audience, because hiding the work would feel like giving the stroke too much credit. In the next episode, I will walk you through it, the actual code, the actual setup, so you can see exactly how it works. Text to speech is not magic. It needs the right input. Short sentences work best. Long ones lose rhythm. Numbers must be spelled out. Acronyms must be spaced out. I write every script like a speech, line by line, breath by breath. Then I send it through one command, a script file, one curl request, a finished WAV file. Minutes later, I have narration in a voice that sounds like me before the stroke. This is not about hiding my real speech. My real voice still speaks every day, slower, sometimes effortful, still mine. VoiceForge is something else. It is a bridge between who I was and who I am becoming. It lets me publish while my biology keeps healing. 2 episodes of Bell's palsy did not stop me. A heart attack did not stop me. A stroke did not stop me. I am not saying recovery does not matter. I'm saying recovery and progress can happen at the same time. No rest. Only rest in peace. I built VoiceForge inside that policy, not instead of healing alongside it. I am Moodley, Indian Air Force veteran, 2 decades in IT infrastructure, Linux engineer, infrastructure architect, and now application builder, survivor of a heart attack, survivor of 2 episodes of Bell's palsy, survivor of a stroke. I did not wait for permission to tell my story. I built the tool that lets me tell it today in the voice I had before. This is the resilient